we feel we are all still cavemen. Only our caves have become fancier. But some of us ask more curious, and this curiosity is what pushes us out to go and explore the world outside. In fact, we feel more at home when we are away from home. And that makes us question, what is home? Is it the four walls that we live in? Or is it the city? Or the country? Or this world? Or is it just a feeling that makes us feel one with this world?
And 2020, yes, what a year it's been. 2020 only made this more clear to us. While the whole world went back into their caves, we decided to go out. We didn't want Zaha to grow up in a constant fear, constantly sanitizing her hands a million times a day. We still wanted her to run free and be the child that she is. Everyone told us that once you have a child, your life changes. But Manan and me had made a promise to each other that we won't let it affect our travel life at all. But yes, life did change. Zaha did become the purpose of our travel. We wanted to travel even more with her. And then, by the time she turned 2, she had a very enviable passport. We had taken her to the sea when she was all of 4 months, dunked her into the waves. Yes, that was her first water experience. And then those long 12-hour road trips were quite a breeze with her. I even took a 15-hour non-stop flight to New York, all alone with Zaha. No troubles whatsoever. And then she also accompanied us on one of our dive trips when she was just 1 year old. Or actually, yeah, she was just 5 months old for the first dive trip, but we did multiple ones later with her.
Yeah, and she would just hang around at those dive shops looking at the marine life charts. And she even learned a whole lot of these unique marine lives like the mola mola and the shark and various things. She just knew all the signs, It is so amazing how she would just hang around there and learn all of this just by observing.
We pushed all possible boundaries when it came to traveling with a child. We left none whatsoever, we are those kind of parents. And child-friendly holidays? What's that term? We don't even think about it or never even talk about it. And then starting her early did help because that's what has made Zaha one of the most easiest person to travel with today.
So a lot of parents ask us, when is the right time to start traveling with a child? And our usual answer to them is whenever you are ready. Because they are not the ones with inhibitions. We are the ones with inhibitions. So to stay safe during COVID, we decided to travel. Travel to these remote, small little places where COVID still hasn't reached there. We spent the entire monsoon season at a small little farm in Ahirwadi and sustained with whatever grew there, ate whatever was growing there, and managed to get a little bit of food from here and there. But in turn, what we got to try were these amazing wild little vegetables and fruits that were growing there, like moha. It was actually like the Indian caviar.
It was so heartening to see that there was so much natural and organic learning happening all this time, while the children were just playing out there in the fields with various tools and in the mud, digging. They got to learn so much about the flora and fauna. It was wonderful.
In fact, we even celebrated birthdays and festivals there. For children birthdays, we made puppets out of coconut shells, and we even made a Ravan for the Shera out of twigs and leaves that we found there. And imagine making your own Ravan and burning it too. It was a lot of fun.
Our 4-month stay at the farm was filled with some incredible experiences. But one of the most humbling experiences that I recall was being able to observe the entire rice cycle, right from sowing to harvesting. We participated with the villagers, our caretakers, worked on the farms. I still remember being in waist-deep muck water, sowing the rice, and then months later when it was time to harvest it, we used to be so concerned and connected, waiting for the right time, hoping it would not rain so that the harvest or the reap gets spoiled. It truly made us realize how much goes into growing something as simple as rice.
Yeah, it's almost like next time we're going to think of wasting any bit of rice, we're going to definitely give it a second thought.
Sounds too good to be true, like a perfect life, isn't it? But well, it's not all that rosy. When you live at a farm or a natural environment, it comes with its own set of challenges. We had insect bites, swollen eyes, skin allergies, there were spiders, reptiles, and all of that. We even got like a fire ant bite and swollen feet. But we learned out of all of this, and soon enough, all this, we got used to it. And some of them even became Zaha's friends. It's incredible how we city people became so much closer to nature.
So after we finished the heavy monsoons of Mulchi, we decided to spend the winters in the mountains. We went to a small village in the Himalayas called Bir. And the moment we reached Bir, Zaha looked up at the sky and said, I want to do that. She wanted to paraglide from the Asia's highest paragliding point called Billing. Everyone, including the instructor, thought she would be a little scared, but she was fearless.
In fact, she was so excited that she went and told half the town, I'm going to be up in the air, please wave out to me.
She laughed and giggled through the whole flight till she landed. And the moment she landed, she said, I definitely want to do it again. Can you believe it? And of course, when you're in the mountains, you want to go trekking. And we tested her limits by pushing her for a 24-kilometer trek. It wasn't easy. And then we also went on a 10-kilometer snow trek. And a little bit of coaxing and pushing her, we managed to do it. And guess what the most used sentence on the whole treks were? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? But once we reached there, the rewards were just mind-blowing.
But the most amazing and beautiful part of this journey up north was all about the people we met. We stayed 2 months at this monastery, which is now the Deer Park Institute, where we met a lot of people from all different walks of life, each one with a wonderful story to share. There was so much learning by just interacting with all these people. It just took Zaha a few days to take to everyone and mingle, and she formed some beautiful friendships and bonds. She would be engaging with them, learning something different from each one of them. It was like one big family out there. And this whole communal living, upbringing did wonders for Zaha. She truly flourished in this whole environment. And then it makes me wonder, it's right when people say that it takes a village to raise a child. By the time we finished traveling the remaining part of Himachal like Shoja, Jibbi, Gusheni, we'd come to realize that human beings, the connections we make, the bonds we share with them, are the most important and invaluable wealth. We were a lot richer at the end of this stint.
So after surviving the monsoon and the winters, we decided to go down south for the hot summers. We volunteered with the first surfing ashram of India in a small village called Mulki. It was really hot and sweaty there, but luckily we spent most of our time at the beach and in the waters. As volunteers, our days were packed. We used to go take guests surfing, kayaking, stand-up paddling, and even help out in the kitchen and even serve guests. But Zaha would just hang around there. And just by hanging around, she learned so much there. She learned hula hooping, slacklining, even mastered her pop-ups. And she would just learn so much just watching, observing. And all this is coming out now when she shows us in her pretend play. While, she'll take a pillow and sits on it. And then she says, when you want to stand up on a stand-up paddle, you look straight and slowly get up. And then when you want to go right, you paddle to your left. And when you want to go left, you paddle to your right. It's really hilarious to watch her now. It's so much fun.
So, we were really hoping Zaha would take on to surfing. And while she perfected the ground training, she got the stance correct, she did her pop-ups perfectly. She did get a little daunted when she went into the sea. the waves and falling off the board. She wasn't quite ready this time. And we didn't push her too much either.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. You just need to decide. But the good part about all this was that we used to get so exhausted with this busy day and there's plenty of time in the water that the minute we hit the bed, we were so exhausted that no matter how hot it was, we would just knock off. With all this eventful travel, we did continue homeschooling Zaha with a curriculum which was sent by the school all along, everywhere we went, no matter where we were, whether we were in the mountains, whether we were at the farm, in the fields, near the river, near the sea, or in the forests. We did continue very, very diligently. In fact, it did enhance her whole learning experience to another level. So our stint down south concluded with a little short stay in a homestay in a coffee estate. There were lots of animals there like dogs, cows, free-range chickens, and Zaha was running around like a free-range chicken herself. This entire long, slow and immersive travel experience made us really come to understand that when you travel, you give a lot, but you also end up receiving a lot more. It's like there's this beautiful exchange, barter of knowledge, skills, ideas. What a wonderful way to live, isn't it? What a sustainable way of life.
Yeah, and what a journey it's been. You know, maybe possibly the worst possible year, we've converted that into one of the best for us. Yeah, things did slow down, but it accelerated our personal growth tremendously. It taught us a lot, and it taught Zaha to be a lot more curious, more fearless, more accommodating, to connect more with nature. Travel has taught her to be humble, to coexist, to push her limits. Travel has taught her to be more social. And while our travel has taught her all this, it has still let her be the innocent little girl that she is.
There is a lot of learning when you travel, a lot of learning that you can see. But there is a lot of latent learning, hidden learning that we're not even aware about, and which will spring up as little surprises as life goes by, life comes along. And that's truly wonderful. And this only convinces us even more that travel is truly the best teacher.
Best teacher. So get out of your comfortable caves and keep traveling and keep learning. Thank you very much.